Hi warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today I thought I'd just have a little ramble about the often misunderstood concept of intuitive eating, as I share with you a day of intuitive eating. I recently saw a video by this girl, and I'm not going to name her, but a girl who said she knew all about intuitive eating. She came from a passive and eating disorder, and she wanted to share her secrets. And creating sort of similar kind of content, YouTube recommended this to me. I watched it and I was blown away. Not in a good way. I mean, this video had tons and tons of views, and this girl had tons and tons of followers that were probably taking her words as the absolute truth. Meanwhile, I barely agreed with a single point she made. In my mind, she overanalyzed everything. She also recommended eating without distraction, so that you're constantly very mindful. And she said that she personally stopped after pretty much every bite just to consider how full she was feeling and what her body was telling her. To me, that sounds a bit disordered. That doesn't sound like intuitive eating. Intuitive eating really is not that hard, and you don't have to put in that much effort. Whilst you definitely have to tune into your body to some extent, you don't have to be asking yourself questions after every single bite. You can enjoy your food. Definitely after passive and eating disorder, intuitive eating is not going to come naturally, so I think having a meal plan initially, eating at regular times, having a routine, can definitely help your body establish new, better hunger cues. From that point onwards, you don't have to question it, because your body will tell you. And then, it's okay to not always have your first choice meal. For example, if you're going out with friends, it's also okay to eat in front of the TV if that's what you want to do. Coming from a passive eating disorder, you're probably already too focused on your food. So adding extra focus on it, really, I don't think it's helpful. Next, she proposed a whole entire process. So first, before you eat anything, ask yourself, are you hungry? Are you really? Then, what do you want to eat? Do you want to eat something fresh or something warm, something fruity, something savory? I don't think this is necessary. Personally, I go into the kitchen, I open my snack cupboard, and I reach for whatever I fancy, whatever stands out to me in that moment. Easy, it just takes a second. If I don't find exactly what I fancy, I'm sure there's a good second choice that will suffice, and that is fine too. I do this without necessarily looking at the time or sticking to a regular schedule anymore, but initially in my recovery, sticking with a schedule was really helpful. I do still have some basic guidelines, as in I won't skip a meal altogether, but that is mainly just because I know if I don't have lunch, I'll be really hungry, and you don't want to see me hungry. So, whilst that's not necessarily listening to bodily cues, it's just part of knowing myself and knowing that if I don't have this meal, it's not going to be pretty. That too, I think, is intuitive eating. This morning, we had breakfast quite late, and for that reason, I decided to spoon out the last of a jar of peanut butter beforehand. Then, actual breakfast only at 10 o'clock. For breakfast, I had a banana, a plum, grapes, a few berries, a Weetabix, some yogurt, some milk, some nuts and seeds, sort of the typical Hanne breakfast. And there's a tiny little bit of milk left, really not that much, so I drank that as well. There's one thing though that she said that I do agree with. She said that if you have a meal, it's okay to start with smaller portions, and then if you're hungry still, to go for seconds. Tell your eating disorder it is okay to go for seconds. Anyway, I put on my plate what I think I can finish. Then, 9 out of 10 times, I'll go for more, and that's fine. So as I referred to a little bit before, this YouTuber also said that it's fine sometimes to eat, even when you're not hungry. I completely agree with this point. You might choose to eat because you're bored, or because it's your birthday, or because you're with friends. To me, that defines a healthy approach to food. So, follow a meal plan if you have to, Eat at regular times. Once you feel the eating disorder is not consuming your thoughts anymore, try intuitive eating. Listen to your hunger cues. Still, stick with a bit of a routine because that's how your hunger cues are regulated. If you don't know what you fancy eating, either pick something at random, it's not going to kill you, or open some cupboards and see what you're naturally drawn towards. This, I think, is a healthy approach to eating and an intuitive approach to eating. Lunch was a pie we had left over from yesterday. It didn't look that pretty, but it was pretty decent. It was basically pastry at the bottom, pastry at the top, and then the filling was made up of 2 packs of tofu, a bag of kale, 2 leeks, a courgette, and like 4 cherry tomatoes that we had lying around. Anyway, we added a bit of nooch and a bit of black salt just to make it a bit eggy, like a quiche. But we added a pie crust on top. Personally, I would have preferred to just have kept it as a quiche, but Tom really liked to do the pie idea, so I acceded to that. And I think that's also part of, for lack of a better word, a healthy relationship with food. It's listening to what you want to eat, but also accepting food when it might not necessarily be your first choice. Also, yes, I'm chilling in my bathing suit because it is freaking hot today. I also just had an ice cold shower and it was the coldest shower I've had in my life. All exaggeration aside, it was definitely no more than 10 degrees, sub-zero. So yeah, hot day, tasty food. My standard snack is crackers with peanut butter, but probably because I had so much peanut butter this morning, my body was telling me hummus is the answer. Intuitive eating is, I think, sometimes being hungry and being okay with it because you know you're gonna have a meal soon, or you know you'll be fine in the end. Intuitive eating is also maybe having an extra snack because you know dinner might take a while to prepare and you don't want to be hungry. So a few more crackers it is going to be for me. For a while in my life, there was a time when I just couldn't go to bed without dessert. So in the evening, I needed some ice cream or a slice of bread with peanut butter, just something. Even if it was just like a tiny cube of chocolate, if I didn't have anything, it just sort of felt like my day wasn't complete. Now, however, I sort of feel quite good just sort of judging how I feel. And more often than not, I think, I don't have a proper dessert. Oftentimes I'll just go back for some more of what we had for dinner because I really like having that later at night, and that satisfies me and keeps me full. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this day in the life. If you gained any new insights, let me know. If you have anything that you think I should have added, of course, also let me know. Sending you all loads of love. See you again very soon.